On 1st and 10. Hurts with a pump, now flushed. Throwing on the run. Goddard has it caught complete. And he's down. On 4th and goal, the give up the middle. Boston Scott plunges ahead. Hurts tucks it. He becomes a runner. Jalen Hurts runs for a first down and more. And he's on last week. But a blocking for one. On 3rd and 14, Hurts directing traffic. Still looking for a man downfield. And it's caught inside the 5. What a play to bite for the Eagles. Scored on 4th and goal earlier. Hurts is tripped, flips, dive, touchdown Boston Scott. Down rather the first half. Nike pressure, and he's brought down for the sack of the 20. Josh Sweat again. It's his second today. Into the 3rd quarter. And a key is brought down inside the 15. Gennard to extend the Philadelphia lead. Elliott is good again. Heineke looking end zone, and it is intercepted by Rodney McLeod. Meanwhile, the playoff dreams for Washington.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the post-game evening show here on the All About the Birds Network and the AAT Sports Network, AAT Birds. I am Chip. That is Johnny. The Philadelphia Eagles today defeat Washington 20-16 to move to 9-7 on the year, to move them to a winning season, a guaranteed winning season no matter what happens, which is big news. And going into a game tonight where they could clinch a playoff game as long as the 13th string quarterback for the Vikings doesn't pull out a Minnesota Miracle, Gordon Bombay style, and the Packers just take care of business. I'm Chip. This is Johnny. I want to let you talk. I have to vent for a second. I'm going to say something. I want to get it done and out of the way because it is an abomination.
You could say it. I'm going to pull up the video and we can share screen. So keep going off of what you want to.
Great.
If you want to go on the tirade, I will find this.
Yeah. It is an absolute abomination that the Washington franchise is allowed to have a team. And it has nothing to do with play on the field. Look, the play on the field, it was a football game today. But it has everything to do with Dan Snyder being allowed to own a stadium, but not having to do any kind of inspections on it. This is yet another story that we are about to share with you where something has happened in the physical establishment in Washington. We've had literal shit raining in from the ceilings. We've had pipes burst. We've had teams have to bring in their own benches. And tonight, part of the stadium railing collapses. And it wasn't like they were shaking it or leaning on it. It just collapses. And it almost takes out Jalen Hurts, who is simply walking off the field. Go ahead, Johnny, play that. And then maximize the screen on the chat there. Again, Jalen Hurts is just simply walking. You can see in the left-hand corner a bunch of fans reaching out for their high fives, and the whole damn thing collapses. If you look, Jalen Hurts, if he had not been as slick as he was, could have been severely maimed and injured. And yes, the fans, I'm concerned about them as well. They're all fine. They got on the field. They got a selfie. It's great. Are you kidding me that this is yet another example of a franchise being allowed to not keep maintenance up on their stadium? We'll ignore the fact about all the emails, and the only thing that came out of the emails was that the coach of the Oakland Raiders gets fired. The Las Vegas Raiders, wherever they're playing now. We'll ignore that part. We'll ignore the part that he has sexual assault claims against him left and right, and his wife is running the team. But now, people who are buying tickets to the stadium are getting hurt and shit on, literally shit on, and nothing is going to be done. If you read the post-game press release, it simply says, oh, we're going to look into it. Thank goodness no one was hurt. You know what? Enough is enough. This is a goddamn travesty, and it's ridiculous.
Did you also see someone tweeted out that they zip tied it back together. Basically,
they got that back. They got the fans off the field and got that replaced right away because, the safety of the players and all that bullshit.
Yeah, it's an abomination because
I'm done with you. I'm done with her on this. I said, I'm going to go on a tirade. She's like, but he had his armor on. I went, mother.
But the thing is, it's a rust bucket of a stadium that's plastered with advertisements around the outside. So you kind of not see that. You look at inside in the club box level, don't they get shit all over?
Yeah, literal pipes burst. And this stadium was built in 1997.
Yeah, there should be no. It's pretty sad because the Eagle Stadium was built in 2003, so 6 years difference and world above difference if you look at both of the stadiums. It's pretty sad, and as we transition over to the game, the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to just go on a tirade about that because that was totally unacceptable that has happened, and that nothing is going to be done. Absolutely nothing is going to be done yet again. But Max, they do have seats that are literally behind pillars and you can't see. They don't care.
Yeah, the stadium is an absolute. The whole organization is garbage, and we know that, and we've known that. But the Eagles get the W, 20-16.
Eagles got to win tonight. It's a great Sunday, as Julie said, especially because the Cowgirls lost as well.
It's always good as well. Exactly, that is very good. But your takeaways from this game. I know we talked very quickly before we got on. But what's your takeaways on this game?
So my first takeaway is this. Yes, they got the win. And I know that there are fans, and I know this is one of your takeaways too. There are fans that are upset that it wasn't a 20-point win or a 30-point win. Look, guys, it's still the NFL. I'm less worried about the points and more worried about the effort and the execution. Specifically today with the defense, they played an awful first half. They made a guy like Taylor Heineke look really, really good, and he's just not that good. He takes a lot of dumb chances, but he ran very basic, simple routes. It was a very simple called offense, which, Mark Schlereth couldn't stop ranting and raving about how great the Washington football team was, and Jordan Mailata is his favorite player.
But I will say, though,
But then they adjusted at halftime.
Exactly.
And then they fixed it. So here's my thing about that. They are doing a really good job in the second half and beyond, but they're getting out-coached Monday through Saturday.
I said it all depends.
That's a problem. As you come against some of these better teams, you can't – if you're playing Dallas next week, and Dallas, right now it looks like they're pretty much going to be locked in wherever they're going to be locked in. So they might not run a lot of players. We might clinch tonight. We may not have to run a lot of players. But I will say that a fully powered up Dallas football team, a fully powered up Rams team, a fully powered up – these teams aren't going to let you get to halftime without putting up 20 points on you.
But that makes some sense. But then you got to look at Tampa Bay against the Jets. Look at Baltimore and the Rams. Baltimore's defense is decimated by injury, and yet the Rams put up 20 points, and they needed a couple of defensive plays at the end of the game to secure that win. So it really all depends. It's all about matchups, and it all depends on you going out and basically. You going out and hopefully having a good game or getting some turnovers and stuff, because you never know what's going to happen. And that's the biggest thing. The Cardinals struggled the past how many weeks, and they got the win against the Dallas Cowboys, who were scoring at will the last couple of weeks. So you really don't know what's going on. And the other thing I will say, Mark Schlereth and everything he said, but the other announcer I thought was really good because he was lively, very, I enjoy that. And I also enjoy it. It's Aaron Goldsmith, who's also the Seattle Mariners announcer. So
I wanted to say the other guy then.
I wanted to throw that in there because I thought he did a really good job. He brings
Mark Schlereth is terrible. My favorite was Mark Schlereth trying desperately to sound cool, and every time he's saying that Taylor Heineke was eating. I teach middle school. That is a phrase that is running rampant through the middle school as the new young teenage slang.
I like when you put that all Madden jacket on.
Yeah, I mean he did everything he could to be cool. If you're in your 50s, your 40s, your 50s, you don't say words like that on a professional broadcast.
Some people do.
That was like when Dan Orlovsky dropped John 37 times this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's cute. It's funny. Stop it. Be professional. Mark Schlereth was not Jordan Mailata killed me. Absolutely decimated everything about me when he referred to Milton Williams as Fletcher Cox until he realized that was a 3 and not a 1. He had no clue. There was zero research done. It was about as prepared as the Washington Football Stadium, which is not usable.
And yeah, well, it's almost as bad as their old stadium, JFK. The other thing when you look at this game and you look at the Eagles and how they basically deployed their offense, because I saw a lot of Washington playing 8-9 guys up in the box, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very tough to run, and they had to throw the ball to start. They had to throw the ball, Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. And I like that they got the running backs involved, like Boston Scott. Boston Scott got a lot of play. And I think a lot of that had to do with, I don't really know how healthy Jordan Howard was. I know he had 11 rushes. He was in the game
early on. He really looked rough, especially when it came to getting his footing.
Yeah,
I mean, he was slipping with one single touch, which is not something you typically see out of Jordan Howard. But I will say that, I was in a third place matchup today, a consolation game, and I picked up Boston Scott at the last minute. It's going to get me a victory. Plus, my opponent had Antonio Brown, who's only good for about a half of football nowadays.
Yeah, so that was terrible. But also, Boston Scott led the Eagles in rushing, which I
by 3. And we had the conversation on Wednesday of,
and I said
who
Boston
was going
Scott,
to be.
I just didn't think Jordan Howard was going to be 100%, and if he did play, he wasn't going to get a ton of carries. And I like Boston Scott. I like him a lot. And the other player that I like that I want to see more time is give Greg Ward slot snaps. Give him a lot more, because we say this every week, but the whole Jalen Reagor, and I know, you want to see him break out.
It's bad now. I mean, it's 1 carry for -3, 0 catches for 0 yards.
Defensive lineman was stride for stride with him. So it's not like you could beat him in the edge, and that's tough.
Look, and it was his birthday. It was his big coming out birthday party. Look, the Jalen Reagor experiment, I mean, he is at this point, as part of this playoff team goes, he is the ultimate person in a group project that just coasts along and takes the grade that the group gets, but does no real contributing work. That's what Jalen Reagor is to this football team right now. I mean, even as a punt returner, he returned 1 punt for 7 yards.
Yeah, it's just, it's a tough watch right now. And just, I want to see more, let Greg Ward run some slot snaps. Give him a little bit more of a run. But, you look at the offensive line, and they struggled a tiny bit, but
especially Lane today. Lane Johnson. Johnson struggled a bunch today.
All right, so
both with his timing and with driving. He was definitely off his footing today.
So I don't know if you noticed this, but I happen to know is Charles Leno, the left tackle of the Washington football team. Every time he got into his stance, he kept jerking his left leg. He kept jerking it, and he kept flinching. Wouldn't that be a little bit of a false start? I kept watching and thinking to myself, you're not the guard and stuff can move because he does the cadence and stuff like that. But when you're flinching like that and flinching your back foot because he's trying to get an extra step back to get basically trying to get even with the rusher and trying to, get a jump on the rusher. That's interesting.
So here's what I will say. Normally, yes. And normally with a Clete Beckman led crew, you see a lot more flags. Washington got called today. Washington got called for 1 penalty for 4 yards today. 1 false start penalty.
I thought the Jannard Avery illegal contact was a little ticky-tack, in my opinion.
Of course, it was ticky-tack. And then they didn't call on, I want to say it was on Jalen Reagor, who was draped all over on that one pass on the sideline.
And then
it was 1 flag today.
Even the Avonte Maddox, it had nothing to do. He didn't grab the guy. He touched his shoulder. See, stuff like that. If you're going to call one side, you got to call the other side. So that was a little that was a little concerning and stuff like that. But all in all,
but the refs let the game play out, which I think is really important. My wife even noticed so Avonte Maddox gets called for that. Then he makes 2 great plays, and he's getting really excited right next to the Washington sideline, and Rodney McLeod grabs him and throws him the other way. Like, we're not getting called for a taunting penalty today. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Not at that point. And, looking at this game, the defense struggled. Second half, like you said, the adjustments and everything, but a player like Josh Sweat was getting consistent pressure. And it was nice to see. And it was nice to see a guy like a Jernard Avery get a nice blitz up the middle, knock the center off guard and get some play. Because I want to see him rush the passer more. He has like that quick twitch ability to rush the passer. And, Derek Barnett.
But Jernard Avery, in the course of his Eagles career, hasn't really done much of anything.
He's playing a linebacker role right now. So he's not really playing a pass rush situational football. And that's, to me, I feel like he fits better if he's more of a stand-up rusher and to be able to rush the passer. But stuff that they have to hopefully, let him do. But the one thing I will say, Cameron Malveaux had 1 tackle today. And you knew I was going to bring this up.
I was waiting for it.
And, of course, Ryan Kerrigan.
But it was the revenge game.
Yeah, revenge game of doing nothing. Not doing a damn thing. It's just so frustrating to watch. But that is what it is. But I wanted to bring that up. Cameron Malveaux with 8 tackles.
He got on the stat sheet again. Some awesome comments rolling in. Chris, what's happening? I agree. Tila does rock. I didn't say it any type of way. Just treat it as girl power. Yes, they definitely missed a few holding calls. Adam asked a good question early on, and I want to bring it back up. Why do we think that the Eagles have slow starts in the games? Because it's become a consistent thing. The first half was really just bad football.
I think the
defensively, offensively, it was just slow. Everything was very slow.
Offensively, they moved the ball down the field, then they didn't kick the field goal and went for it. Instead of taking the points, they went for it.
Yeah. And I had an issue with being in the shotgun on 4th and 1. That's got to be eliminated from the playbook. That and the reverse end around to Jalen Reagor are 2 plays that have to be eliminated. If it's 4th and 1 and you're going to go for it, get under center and lean. Get under center and play action and dump it out to a guy.
I think the biggest thing, if you're going to do it from the shotgun standpoint and a flat-footed handoff, it's got to be Boston Scott or Kenny Gainwell, not Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard, if you're under center and handoff where he gets 2-3 steps and then goes, that's a different story. But it's frustrating because you don't want to leave the points on the board, and that's what I don't like. And luckily, it didn't bite them towards the end of the game. But the slow starts can be concerning, especially when you're starting to get against better football teams. And if you're down 14,
now you're getting to a playoff. Like, you're not going to play any other team the rest of the season that is not a playoff team.
Yeah. So you don't want to get down 17-0 or you don't want to get down.
You can't. There's no coming back for it.
Because then you can't run your offense. The way the Eagles run their offense is they run the ball, set the tone, eat some clock, move their way down the field, and then hopefully, get 3 to 7 points, whatever they do there. But it isn't about, they're not a team that's going to be throwing it 40, 45 times a game, and you don't want to have to play from behind. Now, again, they may have to be forced to start throwing the ball a little more if teams start stacking the box with 8-9 guys. Mm-hmm.
But again, for me, Jalen Hurts at that 26 pass attempts is right in that sweet spot for him.
And he had a couple nice throws, and he did
a couple nice throws. At one point, he was I think he was 9 of 9, or he was 7 of 7. Like, he was good. His completion percentage is really good. Dropped a little bit as the game went on, and the drop started mounting. He finished 17 to 26, which is 65, 70%. I have to check the number.
65%.
There you go. But again, it was smart throws.
Yeah, it was. And, you're getting Devontae Smith and you're getting Dallas Goedert involved. And like I said, you're getting the running backs. Boston Scott, he had a couple nice ones out of the backfield, and I like that. Use that in your game. It is tough because you are seeing them missing Miles Sanders and the burst and what he has
Yep.
been doing. You are missing that. But having a guy like Boston Scott and hopefully Jordan Howard, his work, his rushes will be amped up a little bit the coming weeks. But you see what you're missing with Miles Sanders. But again, what it's all about is it's about moving the ball. It's about using Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts is 100% healthy with his ankle, then you can use him in the run game and the pass game.
Right.
And you can then use a little bit of trickery here.
And as Max is saying here, Hurts told Sirianni, like, screw my ankle, call what you need to call. We are going to win this game. And every single thing that you are seeing out of Jalen Hurts, like today, flat out, Jalen Hurts just guaranteed his starting role next year.
Yeah.
There is no question in my mind that Jalen Hurts should be the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2022. Zero doubt.
And, people will nitpick and, this pass here, if this was a little bit better, if that was a little bit better.
You got to stop.
It's not perfect because no quarterback is perfect. Look what Josh Allen did today. Yeah, they won the game, but he had 3 interceptions. He had 2 rushing
Matt
touchdowns.
Stafford, interceptions. Carson Wentz looked like crap. Tom Brady had to come from behind to beat the Jets. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore.
It's about the wins and the losses. That's what it is. If you can lead your team to a victory, whether your offense is running mostly or you're able to throw the ball mostly, it doesn't matter. If you're able to win the football game, that's what it's all about. And there's always going to be frustration. Philadelphia is always going to be like that. But again, you beat a Washington football team who was not going to lay down. Yes, they got demolished by Dallas. But again, this is an NFC East rivalry. This game is going to be close. It's not going to be a game where you're going to run away with it. And that's one thing I think some people thought, they should have won by 2 to 3 touchdowns because of who they had on the field. But again, you're at Washington. You're playing a team who just got their ass kicked. They're not going to just lay down again. So, for me, it's just you got the W 20-16. You're 9-7. 9-7. I think this is where I think Nick Sirianni gets a lot more Coach of the Year votes.
I agree
with what they're doing because he's just having such a good season where they start at 2-5, and what we were talking about then about there were people calling for his job, saying he.
I wasn't calling for his job, but I wrote an article saying the kid can't coach.
I'm saying people in general.
No. I'm eating crow on this one. Again, I wrote an article after the 2-5 start that said this kid cannot coach. What it should have said is this kid cannot coach yet.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't ready to fire him. You got to give this guy a chance, and he's adapted and improved. Now, what I said earlier on is that they're still losing Monday through Saturday. They're reacting to good first halves, and they've done it for the past couple of weeks, which, look, it is what it is. If he's got time to prepare, like you saw with Atlanta, like you saw with Washington the first time around when they had nobody playing for them, I mean, that's a different conversation. But again, going into the game next week and then whoever we're going to play in the playoffs, because I think that we're going to clinch tonight. I really think that the Packers are going to take care of business tonight.
Especially since they lost to Minnesota earlier. There's definitely – and the thing is, if Green Bay wins, they secure the number 1 seed. So that they have a lot.
They're playing for something.
So it's not like they're just going to be like, okay, well, it's okay if we lose. No, they want that number 1 seed. They want the teams to come through Lambeau.
Right. With all that being said, I really think that something has got to be done about these slow starts. I'm not even concerned with the fact that they're not blowing out teams by 20 and 30 points. That is what it is. It's the NFL. Even the Jets played well today.
Yeah,
I'm concerned that this team is going to play and get a slow start against one of these really good teams and not be able to recover.
Yeah, it's a frustrating thing, but again, you look at it this way.
She's a very smart lady. She wrote, but we're going against Dallas next week and slow start can't happen. Now, we don't know who's going to be playing, who's not going to be playing, subs, backups. We don't know all that.
Yeah, I think if the Eagles clinch, because with San Francisco winning, I think what the Eagles will do is they'll probably play a lot of backups. You'll have some starters playing, but
yeah, because if everything goes, if the Packers win tonight, we clinched the 7th seed, right? We can't get any higher.
Actually, you know what? They can, because if San Francisco loses, they'll be 9-8, and they play LA next week. And LA's trying to secure the division against Arizona, which is funny because after this week, there's 2 Saturday games this upcoming week. And they're going to be for playoff implications. So that is something also keep an eye on because the Eagles may play on Saturday. I'm not going to say they will, but it's just something to keep an eye on. But again, if San Fran loses and the Eagles win, Eagles will move to the 6th spot, which.
Okay. But I mean, either way, we're on the road. We know that. But again, we have to play a full game of football. We have just played our last half game. From here on out, it's full games or losses.
Yeah. It's that. My thing about it is, if the Eagles, it's about taking your points, because if they drive the field and they're getting points, it's not looking as bad as it was. It was 16-7, which honestly, it should have been 13-10 if you look at the score, and then really isn't that lopsided. They have to start getting out to, whether it's they're scoring points or they're stopping, even if it's a really low scoring first half, they can't get down by, double digits, 2 touchdowns against these teams with, high flying offense, these playoff teams, because the playoff teams are good. They're better football teams. And that's a test that they're going to need to face. And, it's something that we want them to face, because you're a young football team trying to develop, and you want them to be able to develop into a quality, year after year, very good football team. So this is just the start of something.
Sorry, I'm watching the Uber driver who picked up Antonio Brown. I got very distracted because, let me say that again. The Uber driver that picked up Antonio Brown. Yeah.
Yeah. There was people who wanted the Eagles to sign Antonio Brown.
Absolutely.
No. I'm talking about last year before he signed with Tampa.
And again, I say, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. He needs serious help, and hopefully he can find that. But
so allegedly, and I'm still waiting on more information from this, and I know, my wife is waiting on the tea, if you will. She wants to know why all this is happening. Apparently, Bruce Arians told Antonio Brown that he was going to be benched because of all of the distractions that were going to hurt the team, which means he wasn't going to achieve like 4 different contract bonuses.
Yeah, because I think I saw that with there was
right. So because he was going to be unable to, you were playing with the man's money, and he's like, "Fine, I'm out." Okay.
Yeah, not the way to do that. Should have sat on the bench, and then at the end, when into the office of the head coach and said, "I'd like to be released if I'm not going to get my guarantees." Not just take all your clothes off, throw them in the stands, do jumping jacks or whatever, and wave in the end zone. Not a good.
It was a bit much. It was a bit much.
Not a good look. But again, that's hopefully he gets help, but he needs, and I don't know. I think there's a lot with him, but beside the point.
Right. Look, what it comes down to is this: the Philadelphia Eagles are 1 Green Bay Packers win away from
clinching a playoff
from the playoffs. It's why I'm wearing my Reggie White shirt.
I had my white one on today.
It is the Eagles one. However, Reggie White was a big part of the pack. Go, Pack, go. But we need. I would like to be in the playoffs by the end of this night.
Yeah, that would be very, very good. That would be a great start to a good old Monday. Eagles already in the playoffs, so game to go. Not really having to worry about too much. It'd be a great start to the week, and it'll bring us to our.
And the other thing, right. The other thing is that the team did walk what seemingly looked very healthy.
Yeah, which is always good. I know Nate Herbig had that one little spill, but he came back in the game.
He came back and played.
So that's always good. No real big, huge injuries, which was great. That's what you want going into the playoffs. You want to be as healthy as possible. So very good on that end. But what do we got coming up this week?
So this week we have tomorrow night, we have Chip and Drip, We are talking a lot of college football tomorrow, especially of the, opt-out variety, which turned into a huge national media conversation about whether or not players should opt out of bowl games. And we're also going to talk about the Hall of Fame finalists, and we're going to pick our Hall of Famers based on who made the list, even though Eric Allen once again getting snubbed by the Hall of Fame.
I will tell you
Which
this.
is
Devin Hester is not a Hall of Famer. That is the biggest bullshit I've ever seen.
Johnny, if you have a couple minutes tomorrow, would you like to come on?
That all depends if I can come on. I may have something else.
You're not going to pull the I might have a baby card, are you?
Well, it may happen. I don't know. I don't know. I can't guarantee any appearances on anything.
That's true. That's true. So that is tomorrow night. Tuesday, I actually may be doing the producing of
it's all depending. It's all up in the air. But yeah, either you or possibly I will be doing the Burning Bridges podcast. So that should be good because Jeremy will be happy. The Cardinals got a W, beat up those Cowboys. So you'll have a lot to talk about. So it should be a fun show.
Wednesday is the All About the Birds weekly report. We will be talking Eagles, Dallas. We should have a better picture of what is going on and what is happening at that point. Friday, Birds, Beers, and BS. And then either Saturday or Sunday, we will probably be live from the West End. As soon as I talk to the owner, we'll find out times. And then we'll have a post-game show, and we will do, as the NFL's calling it, our regular season finale, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, by the way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Make sure you're checking out all of our wonderful sponsors. There should be a new Manscaped commercial maybe tomorrow if I have the ability to record with my new script. Very excited. Since I am snow day virtual tomorrow, even though there's been exactly 0 flakes of snow on the ground.
Well, it will be cold, so you can pretend.
It already dropped like 15 degrees, so we'll see what it looks like. It's not Green Bay cold, but again,
everybody's home. You could pretend there's snow out your window.
There you go. I'm going to say go Pack Go for the first time on the AAT Birds and the AAT Sports Network. I'm going to say go Pack Go.
I need Aaron Jones and Dalvin Cook to have huge games because
I need Justin Jefferson to have a big game.
I'm in a fantasy championship. I need to win. So
there you go. But as we end every show here on the All About the Birds Network, we end up with a very positive and a very happy